And we're back once again, only on it's Last Call. Last Call with the alcohol, only on the Last Call Podcast.com. And joining me here once again, after every fight, we got to get him on because he has hot takes, he has insights, he's going to drop some breadcrumbs. And yes, he's going to call it like he sees it. You don't like it, he doesn't care. I give you once again from Eurosport UFC, from Tapology, and from the MMA Oddsbreaker podcast. I give you Marcel Dorff. So Marcel, let's start off here with the main event. It delivered. It was everything we wanted. It was action packed. There were knockdowns. There were big shots. At the end of it, Justin Gaethje defeated Paddy Pimblett by unanimous decision. So, what are your takeaways from this fight? What were you impressed with? What were you dismayed with? And was this a good step for the UFC in terms of just Paramount Plus? Hey, it delivered.
I mean, I think it was a fun fight for sure. Um, I think it kind of went as expected. I mean, not as the outcome or whatever, but like it was a fun fight. Gaethje is always in bangers. And Paddy has a good chin. So yeah, I mean, I was kind of surprised Paddy didn't try to get him to the ground. You know, but yeah, it was a fun fight for sure. I enjoyed it watching it, and was it? Well, I still don't know if these two are the best at 155, but at least it was a good and fun fight to watch.
So let's start with Justin Gaethje. Does he match up well going forward with Arman Tsarukyan and Ilya Topuria just because he's got a chin and man, if he connects, you are in trouble.
I mean, does he has a chance for sure? But I see Ilya and Arman as two of the best guys, and it's the two best guys in the division. I think if you look at Justin has that power, but at the same time, Justin was also gassing in the rounds, But it was also Paddy was also gassing, so it didn't have too much of an influence on the fight, I think. But for example, I don't think Ilya gasses, I don't think Arman gasses, So it's difficult to say, but it's interesting for sure.
I wonder though, like would Gaethje admitted that Patty was getting under his skin. So does that happen against Arman Tsarukyan? Is he more reserved and probably in better shape just because Arman's not going to talk trash, and Ben Gaethje never is a trash talker, so it'll be one of the most pleasant fight buildups, but both guys will probably not be like, oh, I really want to knock this, MFR out in the first round.
Yeah, I don't know about that to be honest, man. I mean, um, uh, I also don't know if Gaethje's going to fight Arman or Gaethje's going to actually fight Ilya. So um, we'll have to see what happens. When does Ilya return? That's really the main thing we have to think about, and we don't know to be honest. If Ilya doesn't return and he has to fight Arman, yeah, it's an interesting fight for sure. But I don't know. What do you think, Chris?
I don't know. I mean, it's different because you look at that fight with Gaethje Pimblett, and you went, okay, Gaethje's just he is really trying to go for that knockout. You and I both could agree, like that those first two rounds, he was not fighting usually as smart, not as many leg kick, not almost no leg kicks at all.
Mhm.
He's not doing any straight punches. It's just throwing big, big hit, heavy hammer hooks and trying to take out Paddy Pimble with one punch.
Yeah.
So again, does he do that against Armin and Taporia? I mean, maybe Taporia because Taporia loves, to talk some shit and he's very good at it. But with
Mhm.
Armin, again, will he be as angry? Will he be as like, well, I'm gonna just try to get rid of his, SOB, or it's just, they'll be so pleasant to each other, complimentary. They'll be like, all right, we're gonna fight tactical.
I think they're going to fight tactical, to be honest. Although Armin maybe, and Gage, I don't know, man. Gage is the kind of guy who's like, you never know how he's going to fight, but like he said himself, I'm always getting in these slugfests because I love this shit too much. And then game plan gets out of the way. So yeah, we'll see. But it's an interesting one for sure. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great fight, but let's see what they're going and when they're going to do it. Also, maybe White House card. Gaethje wants to fight on that card. It would be cool. I think.
Are you surprised that Gaethje has turned into such a great striker but abandoned his wrestling? Because it's funny, he was a elite NCAA wrestler. We forget that because he's just like, hey, he is, this heavy-handed striker. He can knock anybody out with one punch. But are you surprised he didn't go for more takedowns? But he sort of abandoned the wrestling as he's gotten older.
Yeah, I mean, it's like with a lot of these guys. They have like a wrestling background or a jiu-jitsu background, but then they fall in love with the striking. And I mean, Gaethje is a great striker as well, so uh, uh, it's okay that he falls in love with the striking. At the same time, yeah, I mean, we saw a little bit of wrestling in this fight from him, against Paddy, but yeah, overall he lost to strike, and I'm good with that, man. I think Gage is one of the funnest fighters most how do you say that, fun fighters to watch, in the UFC, and he shows he still got it. I don't think the UFC is very happy with the outcome, but yeah, Gage deserved it. I'm super happy for him, man.
Take me to the quote-unquote low blow. Referee Mark Goddard ruled, that it was, when Paddy Pimblett, delivered, I believe, in the second round or maybe third round. It's the third round. He delivers a knee that lands. It looks like right on the belly button.
Yeah,
Goddard ruled it a low blow, and could that have changed the fight? I mean, we look back, if he doesn't rule that, Gaethje's probably done. Pimblett gets the knockout. We're talking, hey, Paddy Pimblett, Ilya Taporia, UFC White House, Marcel Dorff sitting ringside.
possibly, but I think it was a good decision by Mark Goddard, man. So I had no problem with that at all. Um, I'm probably in the minority here
I know
with
you are in
Paddy
the
fans.
minority. Everybody else is like, Goddard missed, an eye poke again. The
Yeah,
low
but
blow. He missed
I,
another low blow. Like Mark Goddard's getting, skewered worse than the U.S.
I've
politician.
I've heard like and listen, I had Dutch commentary, so I didn't hear the American broadcast. But I heard the American broadcast was highly biased for Paddy from a lot of people, and those are people who actually wanted Paddy to win. So yeah, and I'm not surprised, man. I know a lot of people love Joe Rogan. I think he's been for years not into this game anymore, to be really honest. But yeah, and they pull favorites, dude. But the UFC, they were already talking about a shadow belly title shot when Umar was fighting. So, um, yeah, I'm not a fan of that at all. So, but I think Goddard did the right thing, man. To be really honest.
What do we take away from Paddy Pimblett in this fight? Because you've been one of the critics over the years, and I
Mhm.
get it. Like, hey, it's Dana White privilege. Who the hell's he beaten? Okay, yeah, this guy's old. This guy sort of past his prime. Michael Chandler is not the same guy. With this loss, though, do you give more credit in terms of like he hung in there and he was, fighting to the end? I mean, you say what you want about the kid, and I get it. It's the UFC really wants him to win. He also understands how to play the game. So, do you come out of that fight going, all right, I'm a little more impressed with Paddy Pimblett. He has showed heart. He could have easily rolled over and just gotten, knocked out in the second round. Nobody would have faulted him, but that kid just took an ass whooping and kept on coming.
I mean, he's much better than I thought initially, and I told you last week as well that he's how do you say that? He improved his game. At the same time, I still think he's a tad bit overrated. But at the same time, he looked good. So I cannot say anything bad about him. He looked pretty decent as how he's fighting, and yeah, I mean, what can you say about the guy? He has a lot of heart, pretty obvious. Um, he looked pretty good. So yeah, I'm not going to say anything bad about him. At the same time, I think he didn't deserve to be in this title fight, but that's up to the UFC. So yeah.
Who does he take on next? I'm putting the matchmaker's hat on you. They want a bounce back win. They're looking at Paddy Pimblett going, all right, he's still the star of his division. We're still going to make him, a big thing. So put your crystal ball on. Like, who do they match him up with next?
Oh, you know what I want, man? If Max Holloway wins against Charles, put him against Max Holloway. Because why not?
Wow. I'm gonna remember that because when I keep going, hey, it wins matter, and I go, hey, Max Holloway versus Jim Miller. You look at me and give me like how dare you? You want him to die. You just want him to suffer. This sounds like suffering. Like, all right, hey, yeah, Paddy Pimblett, had a tough fight, lost. Let's give him another tough fight here because, God damn it, I can tell there's conspiracy theory I know about you, and you just want Paddy Pimblett to sort of lose. So I'm gonna go a different route, and I'm gonna channel my, honest opinion, the Marcel Dorff. I'm gonna treat him right. I am going Dan Hooker versus Paddy Pimblett next.
I, I completely agree, actually, with you. I think that's a perfect matchup. I retract my initial Max Holloway, give him Dan Hooker. I'm with you there. Okay. Yeah.
Or better yet, sorry, Dan Hooker is tied up. Let's go Mateus Gamrot. He's coming off a loss. Paddy Pimblett's coming off a loss. This looks like a fun fight.
I'm going with Dan Hooker. I like that one. Dan Hooker it is.
Well, Dan Hooker, we gotta wait till after UFC 325 because he's taking on Benoit Saint Denis, which we'll talk about
Yeah,
later.
and he's not going to win that fight. So Dan Hooker.
Wow. All right, well, let's go to this fight. Yes, I had Song Yadong winning. It's a close
Okay.
fight, so I'm not gonna go robbery. I already heard you going robbery. Investigate the judges. Dana White privilege. So let's start off here with who did you have winning this fight and why?
Um, yeah, I think Sean O'Malley got 1 and 3 probably. So I thought the second round was for Song. The third round was clear O'Malley, so it came down to the first round. I slightly went with O'Malley in that round, but I also can see people scoring that for Song Yudong. I think it was close. So yeah, I think it wasn't how do you say that? It wasn't a robbery at all. I think it was a close fight. Wouldn't have complained either if Song won. So yeah, that's my opinion on that fight. I think it was close. It shouldn't give him a title shot next, I think. But the UFC is probably going to give him the title shot because a bunch of bitches. But yeah,
So let's start. Let's go with first a fight. So what? How did O'Malley win? Was it more O'Malley winning or Song Yadong you doing his usual, which is does just enough but not enough to usually win this fight?
yeah, pretty much that. Like he did just enough to win this fight, probably. Yeah, I mean, it could have gone either way, in my opinion. It was super close. But yeah, O'Malley got it. Good for him. But yeah, it was. I think it was a controversial fight. A controversial win. At the same time, I picked him, but it's a controversial win, just like the two fights before of this one. But yeah, he got the win, so cannot say anything. It wasn't a robbery or anything, in my opinion.
Does Song Yadong have a problem with putting the pedal to the gas? Like there's times you look in this fight went, just come forward more, go for a takedown more. I mean, you want him to do more because when he had success, he was aggressive, he was pushing the pace a bit, and then the third round, it's like okay, God, you got to do more of this. This is what you need to do more of this here. I mean, is there something with Yadong where it's just like he just doesn't seem to have that killer instinct where he needs to really go for it and he just doesn't.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think there's definitely truth to that. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but yeah, yeah, you got to say he only loses to the elite. And listen, I'm not a big Sean O'Malley fan, but he's definitely elite in the division. Um, it sucks for Song, man. It was a big opportunity for him. Um, but yeah, O'Malley won, and he'll go back to the. How do you see guys say that to the drawing table? So yeah,
All right, here's the million dollar question.
Okay.
If and it sounds like but according to tea leaves that it's going to be Marab versus Peter Yan 3 next.
Mm.
What do they do with O'Malley? Because I know you're going, hey, make O'Malley versus Umar Nurmagomedov, and Dana's good looking. You go F yourself, you silly little man. I'm not putting O'Malley anywhere near Umar Nurmagomedov. Are you crazy? Are you nuts, Marcel? You're just a sadistic son of a SOB. So if that happens, are they forced to put O'Malley versus Umar next, or do we get like Umar versus somebody else, and O'Malley versus somebody else, and they go, yeah, well, we'll let it all sort out.
Oh man, you know they're gonna act like a bitch and they're gonna make Sean O'Malley start Pyotr Jan. You know they're gonna do it, because it's best for business, but it has nothing to do with sport perspective, in my opinion. I think Pyotr Jan should fight the Valashvili for the third time, and I think Umar should fight Sean O'Malley. That's the thing I think should happen. But we all know the UFC, and they're not going to do that. They're going to protect O'Malley at all costs. So they're going to give him the Pyotr Jan fight, and they hope that he can pull it off again. That's what they're hoping.
I don't think it will happen because even O'Malley said, yeah, he even said, yeah, Marab and Oyan, they got to run that back number three. So you can tell he's like, I don't know if I really want this yet. So again, putting on your UFC, matchmaker cap. I know what you want. You want Umar versus O'Malley. You stop that, oh, you silly SOB, you silly posh bastard. You're not getting that. So who should Sean O'Malley fight next? If you're a UFC matchmaker, you're going, we gotta keep him away from Nurmagomedov, but we can't do Marab 3. Give me a name.
They're going to give him Pyotr Jan, like I said. They're going to do that. Believe me, they're going to do that. I'm 100% convinced they're going to do that.
And let's say they don't. Let's say for argument's sake, they just run back Marab versus Jan 3. They want to keep
Yeah.
O'Malley busy. Do they give him somebody or
Corey Sandhagen is the only option, in my opinion, if they don't want to give him Umar then. Yeah, Corey Sandhagen.
well, let's go to you were worried for a second. I could tell you were like, okay, this is gonna be a little bit you were worried here. It's gonna stink up a joint. But in the end, Waldo Cortez Acosta drops Derek Lewis, finishes him off some ground and pound inside 2 rounds. I know you were worried for a second. You're like, oh crap. You and Lewis were both going. We really need to kill this heavyweight division. This is not good. These guys are just like big, silly walruses, just lounging about and just laying there. But otherwise, were you happy with this fight? I mean, has Waldo Acosta Cortez done enough to go, all right, he deserves a top five, maybe title eliminator fight?
I mean, yes, I was definitely happy with the outcome because I think Lewis has been hit or miss for the UFC, and I feel like the UFC always uses Lewis because he's a fan favorite to put him high on the card. But I don't see him as a contender for a long time already. And yeah, Waldo got a good win there, and I think Waldo is very close to either an interim title shot or like a top contender fight. Um, yeah, Waldo looked good, looked pretty good, was quicker on the feet as expected. Um, yeah, I mean, good win for him. For me, an expected win for Waldo, so I wasn't surprised at all. Um, yeah, good win. What else can I say about him, man?
Now, your track for getting rid of the heavyweight division is picking up steam. Lewis Glover of Glover MMA, I just want to shout him out. Quote: Paramount could have bought access to every shut up CCTV in the UK and have more exciting fights than these fat, MFers are offering. Save $6 and 99 cent $1 billion, $6.99 billion. Marcel, you gotta stop this. I know you don't not like heavyweights, but now you're infecting other people who are like, yeah, we gotta get rid of the heavyweights. I blame you for this. It seems like they're picking on, the big guys. I get you have this love of flyweights and bantamweights, and if you could, you would get rid of like, yeah, let's get rid of the heavyweights and even the light heavyweights. Let's just have all, with WBEC 2.0. But You gotta stop with that heavyweight hate because it's spreading here.
That is what it is, man. People are picking up. People are smart, you know? I'm sorry, dude.
I know you're no, you're not. You're going yes. I'm gonna plan this here, but that gets me to one of the better fights here, which was Jean Silva defeating Arnold Allen. This should have been, if it hadn't been for Pimblett versus Gaethje, this should have been fight of a night because, God damn it, these two just they delivered. The first round was a bit was slow, considering their standards, but second round it picked up, and I will say this much so: we were in for a treat because Jean Silva, if he learns to speak English, he could be a star in the UFC American stateside.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he's already pretty popular. I think it was a fun matchup, you know. I was close, dude. This was another close fight, in my opinion. I don't think it was clear that Silva won. I actually thought that Arnold Allen did pretty good, and I wasn't sure if it was going to be for either Silva or Allen, but yeah, Silva got the win. I have no problem with it at all. I think it was super entertaining to watch. Allen, the problem with Allen is that he's not just he's really basic, you know, but his basics are really good, you know, but he doesn't have anything that stands out. That's pretty much his problem always, you know. And for Jean Silva has stuff that stands out, you know. And if he's also focused, he can come far. Yeah, he did good, man. It was a fun fight to watch, entertaining. I think this would have been fight of the night if the main event didn't happen. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I expected it to be a good fight, and it was a good fight. So yeah, that's good, man.
All right, what do you do for Jean Silva? He wants a title shot. Unfortunately, he's gonna probably wait in line, but he deserves something. So put on your cap. Where do you put? What do you do with Jean Silva next? I mean, does
Well,
he get a title eliminator? Does he get a big name? Like, who should Jean Silva get?
so it depends a little bit what's going to happen in the division, right? We got next week we got Alex Volkanovski against Lopez, the rematch. What's happening there is important. You know, we got most likely the London main event is Master Evloev against Laurent Murphy. It's not confirmed yet, but that's most likely going to happen. So these are the guys on the top right now. Yeah, what can they do? I mean, if Lopez gets a champion, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to do a rematch, man. I would absolutely be livid about that if that happens because I think Evloev or Murphy should be first. But I wouldn't be surprised. And they also have Yair still somewhere, you know. Um, I mean, if Lopez wins, I see them doing maybe Lopez against Yair. And if Volk remains in the UFC or he retires, I don't know. Maybe they do even Volk against Silva. But that's maybe when Volk doesn't win against Lopez, which I don't know if that will happen. But we will probably know more after next week, you know. Then there's more clearance, I think, in the division. Because a lot of things they're trying to get booked. They're not 100% official yet and we don't know certain outcomes. So it's really hard to predict now who they're going to put against Jean Silva. But yeah, the UFC lost Jean Silva. I wouldn't be surprised if Lopez wins against Volkanovski that they're going to do a rematch between them. You know, which I think would be pathetic if the UFC does this, but wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I'm gonna go a little bit different because I know
Yeah.
you're getting you're upset mood. You might even dare I say like, all right, I'm getting so upset. I might actually have a donut. Yeah, you're breaking away from your gluten-free diet. I admit it, I know that, but let's split the baby here. Jean Silva versus Aljamain Sterling. Sterling, you feel needs like one more big sexy fight to get, maybe Volkanovski Lopez winner. Let's meet in the middle. Silva versus Sterling. The former champion versus the rising gunslinger. That sounds like a fun fight to make.
Actually, man, I'm surprised, man, with your suggestions today because I think they make sense. You know, Jean Silva, Aljamain Sterling. Yeah, why the fuck not? You know, I think that's a good step up in competition. It's a fun matchup as well. Stylistically, it's a difficult matchup, I think, for Jean Silva, and I like to see him in a more difficult matchup stylistically. So, Yeah, I actually like that matchup. It's a really good suggestion, Chris. I don't know what you've eaten today or what you drank today, but you're coming up with all these great suggestions, man. I'm almost getting emotional here, man. You know.
Meanwhile, for Arnold Allen, how far does he drop? Because as you said, it's not like he fought badly. He just took on a buzzsaw that was, Jean Silva. So again, I mean, with him, like, where do you go? Do you drop him very far down? Do you go like all the way to maybe Dan Ig, or do you do like, all right, well, you know what? You know who needs a fun fight? Patricio Pitbull needs a fun fight. Patricio Pitbull, Arnold Allen. Eh, You're rewarding Allen for, for basically giving you a fight of that caliber, and Pitbull gets to show, all right, can he handle a young gunslinger, but who's not too dangerous?
I'm going to tell you what they're going to do. They're going to do Arnold Allen versus Aaron Pico.
Really?
I think they're going to do something like that. They're going to try to get Aaron Pico again in the rankings. And the knockout, and Allen not really got knockout power. He's a really good fighter, but he's more of a points fighter, in my opinion. And I think Pico's wrestling is really good. I think the UFC likes Arnold Allen, but at the same time, he's very inactive, for in their opinion. And Mick Maynard loves Aaron Pico. He has a poster above his bed of Aaron Pico. So I see that happening.
I'm trying to be nice, Marcel. I'm trying very hard to be nice. Rose Namajunas versus Natalia Silva. Sucked ass and swallowed. That's as best as I could put it. You know what? I've heard Aunt Evans is now. We need to like remove women's fights altogether. No finishes ever. Nobody's getting knocked out. No submissions. This is just like decision after decision after decision. What happened to the good days when you have Ronda Rousey, Amanda Nunes, and Misha Tate? And I hate to agree, but the first round, I felt like going, I should sue the UFC for torture because goddamn, that first round was no real action, a lot of feinting, a lot of kicks thrown that didn't land, punch that didn't land. Marcel, this fight should be sent to the shadow realm.
So on the first, what you said about Ronda Rousey, Misha Tate, and Amanda Nunes, the fight game has evolved, dude. So the women are getting actually better as well. So these women who are really good back in the day, right now would also now have more competitive fights, probably. This fight wasn't good. I fully agree with you. The backlash it gets because it wasn't good, I agree with that. The backlash it gets because of the decision, I disagree with that. If you look at the fight from round to round, let's start with the second round where Rose was pretty dominant, looked good, had ground control, clearly won the round, in my opinion, the second round. The third round, Natalia really woke up, did some damage, got her to the ground as well. And won the third round. So you got to 1-1, You go back to the first round. The first round, barely anything happened. A lot of feints, like you said, a lot of reaction fighting. And there wasn't a clear winner in that first round, in my opinion. So a lot of people were like, this is definitely Rose's round, the first round. No, you're just fucking biased. If you're saying it's 100% Rose's round, the first round, you're fucking biased, you know? I'm a big fan of Natalia Silva. I was talking to my co-host Adam. He's like, "What do you think?" I was like, "The first round is fucking 50-50. I have no idea who won this. It can go either Rose, it can go either Natalia. I have no idea. Only round two and round three were pretty decisive in my opinion. So 29-28 either way I would have been good with. I really thought this was going to be a split decision that one judge had the one girl and two other judges had the other girl. But it was unanimous for Natalia. So all three judges gave Natalia the first round. I can see it. At the same time, listen, if Rose got the first round, you wouldn't have heard me complain because I think it was that close. You even could have scored at a draw the first round. I'm not even going to lie. You could have scored at a draw. That's how close it was, I think, because barely anything happened. So, yeah, she started fighting for the title next. Dana promised it to her. He also confirmed that after the event on the post-fight presser. Yeah, wasn't a good fight at all. Really tentative, hesitant fight and mostly from Natalia, in my opinion, because a lot of people expected more of her. I think she was a plus 600 favorite, and she said afterwards, like, that was crazy that she was such a big favorite, and I think it showed. Rose is very good, got to give her credit. But I think Rose is much better at 115, but she doesn't want to go back to 115 anymore. Overall, not a great fight. I didn't mind that Natalia won. And like I said, if Rose won, I wouldn't have mind either. I think a lot of people and people will say that about me and about Natalia, but I think a lot of people are heavily biased towards Rose for some reason.
Do either of them have a chance against Valentina Shevchenko?
Uh,
I
If
mean,
they
this looks
fight
like
like
just she's going
if
to
they
destroy
fight
both of
like
them.
this, if they fight
Yes.
like this, absolutely not. If they fight like this against Valentina Shevchenko, they'll get mauled. I'll tell you that. The thing is, like, I've seen Natalia fought in other fights where I thought like she can win against Valentina, but if she brings this to the table like she did yesterday, and I think she knows it wasn't a good fight, that then Valentina wins like 100 out of 100 times. But if she can get back to how she fought before, I definitely think she has a opportunity against Valentina because she has a good ground game. Although it didn't look like that, and she kind of looked after me in this fight. At the same time, we'll see, man. I mean, listen, if she has a good day, she can win against Valentina. If she has a bad day, like yesterday, I think Valentina clears her.
All right, so let's put on your matchmaker hat. Where does Rose Namajunas go? Because you wonder if Dana's just like very pissed. Like, God damn, you made me watch that freaking fight. I had to sit there. That was torture. So he might send her to the shadow realm, but at the same time, like she is a former champion. What do you do with her? Because it's sort of
It's really easy.
what?
You make a fight the winner of Alexa Grasso against Macy Barber. I mean, that fight is happening next month, I think, or in Seattle. Make her fight that one because actually the original fight was Rose against Alexa Grasso for this card. Natalia took it on short notice, so make Rose fight the winner of that fight. Rose hasn't fought against Barber. Rose hasn't fought against Alexa. So I think that makes sense. That's also a pretty high level fight. The winner of that against Rose. And the winner of that one is back in the mix to fight for a top contender fight or for a title fight. So I think that makes a lot of sense.
Well, I can't watch another of these sort of I hate to say boring fights. So
Just
let's
watch a
go.
heavyweight rerun.
No, we're gonna do better. We're gonna do a rematch. Jessica Andrade versus Rose Namajunas 3. Because no matter what, somebody's getting knocked out. Thankfully, hopefully, we hope. So either that or I'm just going, hey, you know what? More heavyweights, less flyweights and straw weights. We're getting rid of all these people who are under 145 pounds. You need to have, like, instead of banger after banger, you got, as to quote Drew McIntyre, you need to have more burger after burger and beef up. No more skinny people. I'm getting sick of you guys. Which leads me to
Sure.
my next rant.
Yeah.
Davison Figueiredo versus Umar Nurmagomedov. A dominant performance by Umar. I'm glad he won. He is just watching paint dry. It is boring. Marcel, I blame you for this. Your gluten-free bullshit and pushing these flyweights and these straw weights and these bantamweights on us. No more. If they're not finishing fights, fans are gonna go, all right, well, maybe I'll go on Twitter, on Instagram, I'll take a selfie, I'll go for a bathroom break, maybe get some snacks. God damn it, these guys don't finish anybody. What's going on? I'm blaming you for this.
I mean, it was a solid win for Umar, but it was not spectacular. It was like really like almost a dull fight. But the thing is, like, so was O'Malley's. So both guys didn't really took advantage of the opportunity to try to get a title fight, in my opinion. And Umar at least is honest about it. He's like, let me fight the winner of O'Malley against Song. And yeah, it wasn't a good fight. It was a good, how do you say that? It was a good win for Umar, but the performance wasn't great. But the win was still there. And Figueiredo is not a bad fighter, but I don't put Figueiredo in the same category as the Figueiredo of flyweights. I think at bantamweight he comes up short. So it's an okay win for Umar, but it's nothing super special in my opinion.
I mean, I'm looking at this in his
Yeah.
last six fights. He has one finish. That was all the way back in 2024 against Ronnie Baceros. I mean, look, I know, not to take it away, wins over Mario Batista, Corey Sandhagen, Bezkat Almacan, uh, Davison Figueiredo are nice. Losing to Marab was nothing bad, but it's 5 rounds, 3 rounds of just lots of grappling, some striking. People are getting bored. If you're making fun of the heavyweights, I gotta make fun of Umar. Like he is sort of just like NyQuil, putting you to sleep. How much will this hurt? And if you're the UFC, like, hey, we need to have a big main event and have some fun fights. It's like, oh crap, we got Umar Nurmagomedov. Damn it, he is gonna just like put everybody to sleep. Does this hurt him going forward? Where Dana has like ammunition going, no, we're not doing boring fights. Not on my watch, here, pal.
I don't think it hurts him. At the same time, why does the UFC doesn't give him a better opposition, you know? When this fight got made against Figueiredo, nobody picked Figueiredo to win. Yeah, some crazy Brazilians probably, but nobody picked Figueiredo to win because we know what Umar can do. You got to challenge Umar, give Umar a better opponent. I no disrespect to Figueiredo from my side. I have a lot of respect for Figgy, but I don't think he is like an elite level guy at bantamweight. So maybe you can say Umar should have finished him then. In that case, I can't agree with that, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it just wasn't great, and it happens, man. You cannot always look amazing.
Well, this guy looked amazing. He is. The UFC is going like, we're pushing this motherfucker. We have a star in the making. Whether you agree with him or not, he has a lot of hot takes that make even Marcel go, holy crap. You're a little bit, you're very controversial, even from my side. Josh Hokit, though,
Yeah.
beat, kicked, and spanked, literally spanked Denzel Freeman, collecting a 100,000 performance of a night bonus. Afterwards, he called out the scumbag, deadbeat dad Waldo Cortez Acosta. Said Brittany Griner is a dude. And you could hear Dana White going, I smell money. Marcel, this guy's money. Ah, oh, beautiful money. I'm going to swim in money. When can we expect to see Josh Hokett get, like, as you call it, the Dana White privilege treatment?
Pretty soon, probably. And I also have already a matchup for him made in the White House on the main card against Derek Lewis.
Well, that's a little bit too much. I was thinking a lot more. We're going to do
What do you
Josh
think?
Hokett versus Tui Tayavasa. No grappling, just striking. It will be a glorious knockout. You will love it, Marcel. I know you'll faint tears and go, no, I do not like this. Just like I don't like deep fried Twinkies, but deep down you gotta love it. Because even you, Marcel, got to admit, Josh Hokett is gonna get people interested in a sport where we're getting more and more sort of polite, nice. Josh Hokett for you is like, oh my God, he has hot takes. I can, no matter what, I can use these hot takes.
I'm keep going with Derek Lewis. I think I've been with you with your proposed matchups for now, but here I have to stay on my point. Josh Hawkett, Derek Lewis. That's the fight to make. That's the fight I want to see. That's both guys would love to fight in the White House. Why not make them fight each other? Derek Lewis is just hanging on in the top 15. Josh Hawkett can get into the top 15. Plus, Tai Tuivasa is matched up now with Talisha Teixeira next week. No, give him Hawkett Lewis. That's come also with me for once, man. Hawkett against Lewis.
I'm leaning towards it, but I just think it's way too much. I mean, I can tell you deep down, you're like, God, I can't stand that Hogan guy. The disrespect, slapping a man on the ass.
No,
He
no,
needs
I
to
don't
pay for
mind.
that.
I don't mind. I don't mind.
You say that, but I know you're probably that guy. Like, you probably called the cops when, hey, you know what? That man, that Josh Hogan touched that man inappropriately. You need to arrest him. Just show up there and arrest him. Hello, hello, officer. God damn it, I lost connection, but different story, different day. Rest of the undercard. Let's go over here. So they say this. Alex Perez
Yeah.
made a statement. He probably got robbed. I agree with that, but first round knockout, left hook, right on the button. Charles Johnson got separated from his senses. Alex Perez, first round knockout win. Very happy because, as you talked about, you mentioned, final fight of his contract, back against the wall. Does the UFC reward him? Do you see him all of a sudden now getting like maybe back in with the title picture, where maybe Brandon Royval, Moreno, somebody where it's like, okay, hey, we're gonna take care of you here because damn, that knockout was beautiful.
You know, Alex Perez, my guy, man. He's a friend of mine, so I'm super happy that he won. The thing is, like that, he's not going to get rewarded by the UFC by a higher ranked opponent because he missed weight. It was his last fight on his contract. He told me yesterday that he signed a new deal already. So I don't know for how many fights, but he signed a new deal. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm very happy for him, obviously, man. Alex is a good dude. He looked great in this fight. Um, yeah, I wouldn't give him. I don't know, man. I wouldn't be surprised if they give him somebody like Tagir or something, or maybe the loser of Kyoji Horiguchi against Amir Albazi, which is also coming up in 2 weeks. So maybe somebody like that. But I don't think they're gonna give him somebody higher up in the rankings because of the weight miss, probably.
Meanwhile, in a basically with seconds to spare, literally 3 seconds,
Yeah.
Nikita Krylov knocks out Modesta Bukauskas in a light heavyweight scrap. Look, I think Krylov knew if I lose this fight, I'm probably done. What did it say more? I mean, should we give Krylov credit because hey, he fought a smart fight, and he got the knockout win with the last second. He didn't just go in there, or should Modestas get blamed because no offense, that game plan was one of the worst I've ever seen. Just go in there, no takedowns, no leg kicks, just throw big wide looping shots, try to chin check Krylov. Look, I get it, but if I'm Modestas' camp, I'm going, what the hell were you thinking?
Yeah, he didn't, Modestas didn't look good, and it was a big opportunity for him to win here. And yeah, very unfortunate, very unfortunate. Um, but yeah, good for was this good for Krylov. He needed this win after two bad losses. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it was a great fight, but it was a good win for Krylov. And if went to the judges' scorecards, he would have won as well. So yeah, good for him.
He wants a rematch with Jan Blachowicz. And while I know fans are going to love that because it's all action, I feel like Jan has bigger fish to fry. So I'm going to go meet. I'm going once again. I'm going to go meet in the middle. This is a fight that you will all of a sudden turn you into a Krylov fan. I know it. Nikita Krylov versus Marcel Dorff's arch nemesis, Khalil Roundtree Jr. That'll be the fight where you're like, God damn it, Nikita, you can do it. You send that, Khalil, to the shadow zone. That son of a bitch peed up the yard. That's why I can't stand him. That's a fight which will be fun. Fans will love it. It's up in Nikita's wheelhouse, and you will be rooting every minute for Nikita.
Yeah, they can do that. I think Nikita asked for Jan Blachowicz. I don't think they're going to do that one. So I'm with you on this one. There, you see, I'm going with you again here. That's how I am.
Yes, because you're like you. I could read your mind. You're like, wait a minute here. I could finally get rid of Roundtree. This is great. Even though I have no idea why you can't stand the guy. I mean, he seems like a very pleasant man, and you just look and go, "Oh, F Khalil Roundtree. I can't stand him. F that guy."
Okay.
Okay, all right, but we'll go to the rest of the undercard here. Oh, sorry, we're going a bit fast. So let's start off here with Adam. We saw basically a great fight in, I'd say, the undercard where we have you talked about before that this felt like a layup, but Ty Miller knocking out with a right hook and knee over Adam Fugit. Um, Look, congratulations, Ty Miller. He got 1,000. He got a $100,000 bonus, which is
Yeah.
always great. Did we learn anything from that fight, or was that sort of like, well, he took on a guy who's 37 years old and probably a regional fighter?
Yeah, more like that, no disrespect, but didn't learn that much from that fight, to be really honest. But yeah, I mean, good win, it's his debut for Ty Miller. So yeah, good for him, man, that he got the win here. And yeah, what else can you say about it? I mean, he got the win, it's his debut, and he got the finish in the first round, so that's a beautiful win. Yeah, more there is not more or less to say.
I know it's off topic, but is the UFC hurting the product when they have too many of these fights where, yeah, it's great, Ty Miller won, but you look and go, well, who do we put him up against next? And you start going, well, do we really want the kid to develop? But it's the UFC, it's not meant to develop. So do they need to cull the roster where it's like, okay, look, we really, now that everything's on Paramount Plus, we no longer on pay-per-view, we can maybe have like only ten fights in a fight card. We don't need 12 or 13. We can shave guys off the roster who really don't belong or aren't ready yet.
Yeah, the funny thing is, man, so many people were upset with John Anik's comments like last week that he said that the UFC should do like maybe less cards and less fights, but more high level fights. And I'm fully with him on that. Listen, I love watch the UFC and MMA, but the product has to have a certain kind of quality, and it's more quantity over quality all the time now. So I'm actually with John Anik there. I know a lot of people aren't. A lot of people were upset that he said that, but I think he's right. So yeah, that's my opinion on it. And I said it for years as well. I always tell Adam as well that there are fighters in the UFC right now. And listen, I hope for all fighters to do well in the UFC. Don't get me wrong, but there are fighters in the UFC now that actually don't belong there. But they're there. Good for them. But I think you have to have a certain quality control, in my opinion.
Ateba Gautier defeated
Yeah.
Andre Polayev by unanimous decision. The one fight we all thought, okay, this is going to be end like in the
Yeah.
first 2 minutes. That finally went to a decision. Does that say more about Pulayev, Gautier, or just all the fans thinking, well, every fight's going to be easy, and it's like, oh yeah, if the other guy actually is going to try and have like some game plan.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think Pulyayev had just a good chin pretty much, I know he got rocked early on in the fight, and he got knocked down, but he has a pretty good chin, and looked like Atiba was a little bit gassing as well. So, yeah, it is what it is. But was it as spectacular as I thought it would be? He got the win, Atiba. So we'll see next time how he does.
He, they were saying in this broadcast with weight cut, like he looks just 2 sizes bigger than guys who are fighting at middleweight. And you have to figure this is going to catch up because, look, he's 23 right now, and it's already a slog to get down to 186. This feels like the late Anthony Rumble Johnson, where it's like, yeah, you need to move up in weight, dude. We love you, but you boiling down to 170 isn't realistic. How much longer do you see him at middleweight? And when does the UFC step in and go, look, we love you, we'll give you more fun fights, but look, you're gonna kill yourself, so we're moving you up to light heavyweight.
Who were we talking about again?
Ateba Gautier.
Oh yeah, it depends on how long he can stay at middleweight. And listen, if he can make the middleweight limit, he can stay at middleweight. Why would he go to light heavyweight right now when he still makes middleweight? He probably not easy, but he never missed weight in the UFC, so why not?
Well, this will lead us to a different topic in a couple of seconds, but I mean, health wise though, like I mean, again, the UFC views this guy as something special. So when do you sit with him and go, look, we're planning for the long term, not the short term, and we don't want you getting really hurt or sick because you're literally trying to get blood out of a stone.
To be honest, the UFC don't mind, dude. As long as he brings in the numbers and he gets a fight and he does well, they really don't mind. I mean, you saw how they replied to Cameron Smotherman's feigning during the weigh-ins. Dana was really like, indecisive about it. Afterwards, they asked him after the boxing event, so they don't really give a shit, I think.
Speaking of not caring,
Oh God.
Don Davis has resigned, and people in basically MMA are like, whatever. What's the future of PFL right now? Because Peter Murray is gone, Don Davis is gone, and
I
it just feels like sort of where do you go next?
I love you asking me this question like every other month. I have no idea. I also think PFL has no idea what what they want to do. To be honest, dude, um, I don't know, man. I really don't know. I wish I could give you an answer to it, but I'm really curious myself as well. And yeah, I can think out loud or guess, but I'm not gonna guess. So I'm not gonna
Now,
guess.
guess,
So
Marcel, you are always great when you guess. So,
uh,
guess.
I don't really like to do that, but at the same time, I think they will keep carrying on. But the thing is, like, as long as they don't have like they they just I don't know, man. It's just a lot of things, but also a lot of nothing, pretty much, in my opinion. They have some good fighters at PFL, and they really want to. How do you say that? I cannot find the word with the UFC to come and help me out, dude.
They want to
I cannot
co-promote the
find.
UFC. They want to
No,
be
no,
the
not
number
to.
two.
I don't want to say co-promote, but they want to.
Compete?
Compete. Yeah, thank you. That was the word I was searching for. They want to compete with the UFC, but it's not going to happen, man. I think so. The thing is also like the problem is their big fighters are actually talking about the UFC as well, and that's also not helping the cause, of course.
So I gotta ask the question because
Yeah.
we keep thinking he's gone. There's a groundswell of people coming back. Does Scott Coker return and take over PFL? We keep saying he's gone, but we want him. I mean, the MMA is better when Scott Coker is in a big promotion. So do we finally get like the long-awaited return? Yes, you get like Napoleon, who got Saint, who got basically exiled, but then came back. Does Scott Coker take over PFL, and all of a sudden PFL is on the rise?
Problem, listen, I like Scott Coker, but the problem I have with Coker is that he had Strike first, then he sold it to the UFC, then he had Bellator, and then he sold it to PFL. So every time he has something really good, he's selling it. And what's going to happen next time? I don't know. I'm not really into. Listen, Coker, he seems like a good guy, but man, I don't know what to think about it. I don't even know where Coker is right now, to be honest. Do you have an idea?
I don't, but in fairness, he's never been the guy in charge. Like he ran it, but it was, when he ran Strikeforce, he didn't own it. It was somebody else. When he
Okay.
ran Bellator, it wasn't him. It was, Viacom. They sold that. So again, PFL, they already have, a lot of people who have sunk a lot of money. The Saudis have sunk money, so they're not
Hmm.
looking to sell. So again, because I know that you went, oh my God, why is Peter Murray here? God, Don Davis has the personality of a radish. Why is he running this? You finally get what you want, Marcel. You've been going,
Yeah.
I want the return of the king, the man who brought Kimbo Slice back, who made women's MMA what it was, and developed all these people. God damn it, I want the guy who gave us Pitbull for a year. My guy, my muse. I want Scott Coker back.
I mean, if you want, okay with it, dude. I don't know if it's going to change anything, but at least he had how do you say that? Um, he's a character a lot of people really liked, and a lot of people who were under him said he was a great boss to work for and work under. So I wouldn't be against it at all, but at the same time, I don't know.
Well. Let's go to more serious news here. That was, and we're not going to showing him falling because I don't know. Maybe it's Marcel, really getting. I'm trying to show a heart. Cameron Smothering, he weighs in. He looks sort of okay, but all of a sudden it's just face plant right into the ground, like he passes out. and it's kind of scary. Like you're looking, going, ooh. I get, the UFC's having this laissez-faire attitude. Thankfully, it didn't happen during the fight, or this wasn't like a big, guy who weighed in like a Paddy Pimblett or Justin Gaethje weighs in. They're sort of like drained, and all of a sudden they face plant. But do they need to do what boxing does? Like, all right, we're checking you every 10 days, 15 days, making sure the weight cut's going well, or else we're pulling it because this is getting scary now. Macy Barber, now Cameron Smotherman. Like something has to be done before Paramount looks and goes, yeah, we gotta maybe cancel his contract because we don't want to show somebody dying during the weigh-in or during the fight.
I mean, Smotherman said it wasn't due to his weight cut, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It looked really bad. It looked really bad, you know. Why was nobody with him on the podium? You know, if you see already that he's kind of wobbly, don't let him walk alone, I would say, you know. But these guys will keep draining themselves and will keep like getting into dangerous weight cuts all the time. So it won't stop until something really bad happens, probably, you know. And let's hope it doesn't. But you know, it won't stop until something really bad happens.
How much should we hold the commission, for this? Because what do they do? Like, what is their job? They keep saying, that hey, they need funds, and that's why they get government contracts from the government. That's why the UFC pays all these site fees and sanctioning fees for fights. But again, what do they actually do if they're not protecting the fighters? Going, look, we got to step in here. We got to check in here, make sure you're not killing yourself. Otherwise, well, you probably will try to kill yourself because you're trying to get blood out of a stone. Like, should we hold them responsible for not, trying to do more to help the fighters?
Such a difficult question, man. What you're asked, you're telling. It's the same. I think the promotion should do something about it. At the same time, it's also like the fighter should know their limits, you know. And if the fighter cannot show their limits, the team should know the limits, in my opinion, you know. And it's just overall bad what we saw, man. You know, um, it sucks for Smotherman, but yeah, maybe. And listen, I don't know. He said I don't cut too much weight, but what was it then? You know, what was it that caused this? You know, do you what do you think about it then?
Somebody needs to do something. That's what I said. Maybe it's the commission, the independents who, they keep saying, oh, yeah, this is why we're doing, why we need money. This is why we're enforcing these rules. This is why these rules are in place. Well, then do something. Actually go to these fight camps before every fight. You have enough, money. You can send somebody there, a doctor, anybody, just do a check in. Hey, how much you weigh? All right, well, and come get back and go. Yeah, look, this guy can't cut this much weight healthy, in X amount of days. Like there needs to be something done because again, Macy Barber had a seizure. Connor Smotherman now, fell flat in his face. And yeah, I know he's just, oh, it wasn't a wake up. I call bullshit. I mean, unless there's, you have even traumatic brain injury, either way, something needs to be done. And as you and I have talked about, like, what is it going to take until these changes get made? I mean, it's going to take like a big high profile guy to, fall flat in his face and, cause brain damage. Like, what?
Like I said, this will keep going on until something very bad happens, probably. All I gotta say.
Well, let's talk about this weekend's fight because next weekend we won't. I mean, sorry, February, the first week of February we're not getting fights. We do this thing called the Super Bowl. I know you're upset. You're probably sending a protest. Going, hey, nobody cares about American football. It's called football, not football. Get it straight. But yeah, we're getting UFC 325, Volkanovski versus Lopez. And I could tell you're like, yeah, this fight card doesn't do anything for me here. But for the fans, why should they buy it? Like, what fights on this card do you look at and go, this is worth the price of admission, or these are some fun fights?
Yeah, if you look at the card, I mean, it's pretty obvious what are the fun fights, I think, you know. The main event is good. The co-main event between Dan Hooker and Benoit Saint-Denis is a very good fight. Rafael Fiziev against Mauricio Rufy is a very fun fight. And that's pretty much it, I would say. Maybe Jonathan Mikhaev against Oban Elliott can be fun, I think, you know. But yeah, the road to UFC finals, I don't really care, to be honest. And the other fights, I mean, Tuivasa Teixeira probably will be a finish. Saul Kilt will have another spectacular showing against Malarkey, I think. We got Tafa Alicana, not interested. Roasted against Brundage. It can be interesting, but we'll see. And then the Malkoun Finney will be heavy wrestling fight, I think, because Malkoun is a really good wrestler, and so is Taurus Finney. So maybe it cancels each other out, and they will strike. Let's see. And Khan Offley Yisak can be an underrated banger, but overall, I wouldn't say it's the best card. But yeah, it sucks that we had the fight fall off against what was that? Jimmy Crute against Dustin Jacoby. But yeah, overall, not the best card. And to be really honest, it's only like how many? It's only like 10 UFC fights, pretty much, because you got like 4 road to UFC fights, which don't count as UFC fights.
You said before that you were not happy that Volkanovski versus Lopez got made. I
Yeah.
So who wins this fight? I mean, does Lopez get the win? Does Lopez win the rematch? Does Volkanovski turn him back again? And if you're Lopez, how much do you have to look and go, I need to finish this fight because if it's close, I'm not getting a decision in friggin' Australia.
It's really difficult to say because I think like this and Volk won last time, and it was a clear win for Volk, but at the same time it was competitive in my opinion. But yeah, Lopez needs to win because if he loses, he has 2 losses against Volk, and then he has to hope that Volk might retire so he can still be in a title shot again pretty soon. But yeah, I mean, Volk. If Volk wins, I wonder what he's going to do. Does he does he stay or does he retire? It's really interesting. But yeah, we'll see, man. I think it will be competitive again. And I think indeed Lopez probably has to finish Volk to get the win. And not because there will be biased judging, but I think Volk over 5 rounds most likely wins more rounds than Diego Lopez.
Rafael Fiziev versus Mauricio Rufy.
Yeah.
You know the UFC wants Rufy to do well. They've been trying to get him again, make him a big thing. Is this a good bounce back fight for him, or is this are they making a mistake in terms of, well, look, we get it, on paper this should be winnable, but Fiziev only loses to elite level guys unless he gets injured, and we're not sure Rufy is an elite level guy.
This is another typical UFC matchmaking where they want somebody to push. Rufy lost last time to Benoit Saint-Denis. What does he get? Somebody higher ranked. I mean, does it even make sense? Fiziev, yeah, I mean, he won against Bahamondes. He got 2 losses against Justin Gaethje, but he's good, man. Fiziev is good. And his ground game is not bad either. And Rufy barely has a ground game. So yeah, I think Fiziev wins this fight. I have actually no doubt in my mind that I'm picking Fiziev here. But Rufy can knock him out. He has the tools. We have seen Fiziev been knocked out before by Magomed Mustafayev in his UFC debut, I remember. But now I'm going with Fiziev in this one, man. It's a much more safe pick, and Fiziev has more ways to win, in my opinion, than Rufy has.
Dan Hooker versus the God of War, Benoit Saint Denis.
Hmm.
This feels like basically a tune-up fight for Ben Denis, but they really want him to be a top five guy. And well, hey, look, Hooker's a guy who comes forward. Denis a guy who he's now finished Benil Dariush, Mauricio Rufy, and Kyle Perpolic. But 3 straight finishes here. Who do you have in this fight? And if Benoit Saint Denis wins, does he get Max Holloway?
I mean, that's possible. I have Saint-Denis for sure. I think he will grapple fuck Hooker probably. It's a very fun fight. I think. I don't know if it's a 3 round or a 5 rounder. Actually, I think it's a 5 round. I'm not 100% sure. Um, but yeah, I pick Benoit Saint-Denis any time of the day in this one. We know Hooker is fun stand up striking, but I think Benoit will be able to get into the ground.
Meanwhile, the next, I guess, Australian star the UFC is pushing, that is none other than Quillen Salkid, 10-1. He has been to date, just a force of nature in the UFC, undefeated. He takes on a very game Jamie Malarkey here. What should we expect from this fight? Because on one hand, he's been around the block. He's faced some decent opponents. He can hold his own against just the pretenders. Is this basically for Saul Kid a prove it fight where all right, we know you can beat up guys who are fringe level. Let's see if you can actually beat a legit UFC fighter.
I think this will be a first round finish for Salkiel. I think Malarkey's kind of out of it, to be really honest. 100%, I'm going with Kill and Salkiel here, getting a good finish early on in the fight. I think the UFC knows that this guy has something, and yeah, for me, Kill and Salkiel, man. I'm actually pretty convinced.
Finally, the best fight on the card. I know you hate this. You're like, why did they put this fight on the card? I can't stand it here. Tai Tuivasa versus Taliesin Teixeira. Somebody's getting knocked out. So break it down from here. I know the betting odds are that Teixeira should win, but Tai Tuivasa knocked out Derek Lewis back in the day. And Derek Lewis was the one who finished Teixeira in 35 seconds. So how long is this fight going to go? How fun will it be? And how much are you looking at going, I hate this fight. I really hate this effing fight. Me and Lewis need to get on the ban UFC heavyweights for all time.
This fight is the best fight on the card. I have a 12-inch dick. This is by far not the best fight on the card. It will be a finish probably because both guys will go for the knockout. Um, yeah, it's a very difficult fight actually to pick because I think Teixeira is the favorite here, but at the same time, Tuivasa can knock him out. So either one of these guys will get knocked out. Who I don't know, but listen, Ty has looked horrible in his last couple of fights. At the same time, I'm still not convinced in Taliesin Teixeira. So I can see I can see Ty winning this fight, but it's a fight I would never bet on because it's way too dangerous because both guys can knock each other out, I think.
So before I let you go, but I gotta ask:
Yeah,
if Ty wins,
yeah.
will you do a shoey? I keep hearing that you get Tuivasa is just terrible. He shouldn't belong. But if he wins and he beats Teixeira, will you make it up to him and do a shoey on live stream and go, "This is for you, Ty"?
I don't mind, dude. To be, I did a shoey before out of Gilbert Eiffel shoe, so yeah, I've done it before because he won the what was it? We did like picks for a podcast I have with Dennis Corman and Gilbert Eiffel, and he won that year. And he could choose what we had to do, so we both had to do a shoey. So I've done a shoey before. I've actually a clip of it. If I find it, I send it your way.
Wow, and just when you think you know a guy, he then pulls out this. This is just, we're going to end on this here, folks, because even I didn't have this on my bingo card, but I digress. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we always love having on the show. I give you, once again, from the MMA Oddsbreaker podcast, the Eurosport, UFC, and from Topology. I give you MMA insider, analyst, and trash talker. I give you Marcel Dorff. So, Marcel, once again, where can fans check you out at? Where is the Twitter, the YouTube channel, the podcast, Instagram, probably a Rumble channel? Where can fans hit you up at?
Big Marcel 24, Twitter, Instagram, articles on Eurosport.nl, mixed martial arts section, but there's in Dutch. I have a podcast with Adam Martin. The preview from this event and the recap from next week will be done on Monday, 7:30 a.m. At 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And that's basically it, man. Chris, thanks for having me as always. Always fun talking to you. And till next time, man.
My pleasure's all mine. Marcel Dorff, ladies and gentlemen, once again, always on a pleasure to have you on the show. We come back. We got a lot more going on here, only on it's Last Call. Last Call with the alcohol, only on the Last Call Podcast.com.